here. And as we seem to say, we like it the way the chicken dance. Only we don't like to do how the chicken don't like to dance. That is what I seem to say to says hi. And all of this other stuff. If everybody already knows what I do, then why do anything at all? For if I do anything, then why commit the act to do it in the first place? For if it is done and you seem to own it, then or identify with it to perfection, then why should I create it if you already know it's so good? Or is it to understand the idea of the idea in general, how it happened, like seeing history in the process, rather than thinking about it in a book, where it's going to be told you in a book. Is that the purpose of all this? I guess. I don't know. So here, I shall do a dance for the bees. Hold on. By the time this smoke is done, we'll be done with dance for the bees. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a sec. Just a second. It's just a trick. For sure. Listen to this. This is not a bee. It makes a tap. That is an object. We created an invisible object tonight to understand the communication of an item of a perfect lit sheet of a marble in perfect balloon cartoon form to be handed out across the universe to $2.2 trillion to the outer sphere of the galaxy, to us as well and back from Earth, in my house where I hang out with aliens and talk to people about the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland and begin to start a new life. There we go. Okay, so that is the cure on the base root, my concept of the element of 3 infinite circles to create a width of a radius, and then to lick the ball clean to the perfect diameter of the 3 mathematical circles, creating an eye of 2 points. Oh, sorry, that is bugging my eyes. Yeah, I'll to the eye, to the idea of the eye with the 2 dots to indicate the beginning of 2 ideas, or the coagulation of the next eye. The next eye is of this, and a line on top for the dot, creating the idea of the eye in the infinity of mass, the plane. To explain the first eye again, the 2 dots of the creative force of the infinity and information between 2 people, and then the other. These are all indicators of what we do here. Please don't goon us. Please don't be a goon. I'm not a goon. What is a goon? That is irrelevant. It is just a word. It is not that rational. I usually don't even talk. And most of my friends know. That's why I sit at home alone and vibe. That's it. That's what we do. Don't make things like this. Spells of invisibility and such. Is that burning? Oh, fuck, man. I just melted my fucking robe, man. Fuck. Fuck. Got better than that. This is not good. Sorry, I'm Anglophone French. I learned how to speak on the hockey ice. It's not my fault. I am not a Tolstoy, and I'm not a bourgeoisie Mozart or anything like this. I don't know how to dance with my fancy pants and play and such. Look at my hands. I played in dust all night to cure marbles, to make the stuff in multiple beats, and then created 2 mascots in a basin of my design, basically with elements I chose, with a bunch of people sitting in my house, vibing to maintain and put it into action. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This is good. I like this. Please, it's so hot in here. Can you please help me so much? This is what they did to me after I destroyed the internet. They made me an idiot making marbles to pay cartoons to ask for my utility bill. That is what I did. There you go. May I have some more of my own money, please? That's what it feels like in Earth. That's what it feels like on Earth, isn't it? We're asking to pay for our own money. Why is this? I don't know why I've created that. I've created concepts that have gone all over the world and I've never even been paid for them. They just paid me for my hourly wage. And the corporations just took them away from me. Why is that? Because they want me to make cartoons to create some sort of idea to make something that they can tax in the future or something? Oh no. You say it's not so hot? I don't like it this. It's not so good. It's not so good. It's not so good. You know what I like? You know what I like? I tap it on my hat and I get rid of the fan. And I just throw my fucking office. I gotta grab the shushboard and I chuck it at the camera. I kick the camera and my freaking slipper goes flying in the face of somebody and it hits the side of a bus and then a dog tries to get it and then a lady screams and loses her newspaper and everybody's day is ruined. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Oh. I just don't get it. How can your day be ruined if... See, why is it a constant defense with everybody? I feel a constant defense as I think that is the reaction being put on people too much. In return, in reverse psychology, to counter-commit putting the people into that feeling on purpose. In the counterculture of the idea to control via wealth over the commodity of life. That sucks. Big time. Oh, there. I want to say that so bad. I've been trying to say that for 3 years, man. That was hard. These guys don't let me talk much because I'm usually not talking much. That's the thing. That's just the outcome. That's what I got to do. Sit there and try and figure out how to build the next idea to basically be stuck in this house and decide to do that for them. And I don't get it. Why would I do that to pay for it when, I'm trying to do this to make a life for myself because I found out that I do have a family. It's just I was working to help out the situation in the city and I couldn't find out about it because it was too dangerous. And I also sent it away where she and the future would be safe. And now they're part of the element of me wanting to procure some sort of, unlock of this digital nightmare that basically everybody caused because they defended me. I didn't do anything bad. You guys defending me did all the bad work and it was expensive. And then because you did it in an allocation of a namesake, it was therefore pegged onto the originator of the, I don't even know why I'm making that association. Because why would I do that? Why would I create it and then cough it up to punishment? If it's going to be used in involuntarily wrong, then I don't think it should be anybody's. And that's the thing. You can't call science out of me that nobody can manage. So at some point I called an end to it. And I started making nonsense to talk you into the hills so that you didn't try and talk me into basically making a scenario where would go into a scenario where there is a destructive capacity to the science. So instead, I'm creating principles to protect and not telling anybody about it and doing it in ways that are basically not even using machines. We're just using human kinetics, martial arts, meditation, and concepts that I've used from my protection skills, my skills about law, and my skills about language, harmonics, music, and then all of the different creative arts that I've had, and then just different elements of like things that I've collected that I liked, that I learned about science, and I found like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I put stuff together and I just applied a bit of logic and called it a day. That's all it is. You just got to eliminate the junk math that you count out. You can't always keep making subsets of offshoots of definitions and expect it to work. You have to minimize and limit and make it the basics of the elements of what you're looking for in order to procure that as the elements of what you are, and then see them in tandem as to how you're going to counter commit, and then directly act in order to create a good situation, a positive situation for that other element and for yourself as well, in protection of the greater good, because any conflict is bad. Any motion basically in the universe is created because of like a creature or an individual intervention of some sort of like corporeal life form, and not that of the balance of the universe, which is only, the elements that we live on that are like rock and metal and all of the or any degree of whatever they're in, and what they admit in their natural conditions, in counteraction of the exact same theory that I told you, in the complication of it, and therefore the universe. And the two that commit, that work in that tandem, are the principles of the force that are figured out in the physics. And I've done the math. And I've done the math for zero. I've taken it apart. I put it back together again 6 times. And then I created the idea for the sheath for the concept of the base root as just a tool to create a free conversation or trade in conversation, and get a favor from somebody to just learn something and do it as a trade for that, and then and use it as the element to get the trade and response, and that's it. And then the base root would be a payment to somebody who would need the good favor in return next. You get the good favor and you pay somebody with the worth of getting a good favor in return. And then they trade it down the line. That's all it is. And so last night I created a bank of, the science experiment was great. We coagulated a bunch and then duplicated a bunch of marbles in colors and did everything in randoms. It was done in Uville, in the town, cartoon land that basically houses the city of the coast world in Ottawa, which is the largest city in the ghost world in the planet under Hong Kong. That's fact. The next is Moscow. To that, and then the element of how much we made was into the calculation was actually quite large in our diagnostics, so it would paid out to everybody that received any little white lit cartoon balls that are just pure white, and they're light as air. They might look something like this. And they were made from the element of a mirror ball, like this. I'll show you. Using a system of many alternates of different colors many systems of alternates of different colors, one negative ultraviolet ball. Those three, the size of the base root is exactly that size. That's the maquette for the size. See, it's the size of my hand. These are the procurements of its sculpt and then its outer harmonics, that is its shield, and also its shield variance to move and have, see how it's larger? So it would have like a resin around it that would act as the outside of the actual object itself, almost as like a barrier so it can guide itself. This is the area inside that would be the kind of like the area that would be the electricity or almost like the sheath over top, electric sheath. So magnetics, electric, and then the light inside, and then the opposing of everything inside the sheath just being an inanimate object of an imaginative principle on the inside, which is basically a mending of the object itself, really only being the object identified as how you view it, exactly how I told you here. But we vibe so hard that the room turns into its own theater and people take part, and it's kind of cool. And yeah, we're real, I think, as far as I can tell. I talk to them all the time. It's kind of real, kind of interesting. Anybody else have that kind of scenario where they talk to somebody and they're not there, and they're kind of a friend, and then you get told like, who are you talking to? And it's like, well, what's it to you? I keep it up with myself, and I was thinking of a friend. That's what all you got to say. You never tell anybody, especially a shrink. Yeah, I have a friend, and I'm gonna know her in like 20 years, and the world's gonna be really crazy, and I think maybe. Well, I know she's not there. I know that person's not there. Why would you tell anybody of authority that? They're going to fire you and throw you in the clique for some reason. But why do we have that imaginative process, or that distracting conviction of process in somebody just thinking that with their imagination or with their skills in order to do so spiritually within the confines of an animal and an intellectual, a subconscious, a derivative, and also a sensory system that can do many things if you think at a higher level, or a level of comprehension to it, which can be taught. Well, you guys don't know that this is taught? Why are you guys making rules? This is taught. I'm the teacher. I'm one of them. I'm one of the teachers. The teachers are all over the world. They're all over the universe. There's people coming down from up above to help us out to learn it. And they are acting as basically people to dance in the blow because of the morons trying to say, we don't like this if it's not going to make us any money. I don't get it. If it's about that, and you guys are the ones making all the expensive budgets. I, for example, I'm living out of my house, not making much, and I haven't for years, and I put like a lot of time into this, since I was a kid. I'm not LARPing. This is serious. This is for real. This is serious. I'm taking it serious for everybody else, because I believe it's real. How is that so wrong for you? See, we've waved these into existence. The procurement of those two as the encompassment of the two main shield weather of the ball. We proved the divisive idea of the ball, the outer ball, in relativity to a mind art that you can use tactically outside yourself and then integrate into meditation, martial arts, the temporal arts, which is a martial arts of the mind, which is a next level of Zen that I'm working on, and then the implementation of the actual interaction of the curve in itself to be the ultimate weaver of the resonation of all of these principles itself, as it is the interesting harmonics of a perfect ping system at all times. So it is relative that it is undefeatable if those principles all apply in curve or in succession of protecting it, and we either do or do not know where they are, but we know they exist and that they encompass even something like our Earth and then every other planet that we've looked at, including, the Da Vinci, this thing is the same principle, but of the outer reach of the body. And the ball of the martial artist is the Aikido, which is the ball of two throws, right? You can throw two guys like that if you had them on a belt. And the idea of the outer ball is basically to do this. Watch this. So we go to the side, ball to the side, right? Try this. Drop the arm, push to the side, do this, and stop. You hear something click to my right? That's a kinetic charge. I'll go to the back, I'll even hit the phone. Okay. And throw to the phone. And the idea is to commit that kind of pressure or that kind of intent. And within those elements, you can create masteries of controlling it in defense. Simply by moving it around you and using your comprehension and ability to move to defend yourself. So the comprehension of what I came up with is no fault, but it needs to be built. It's not done overnight. And the other thing too is that there are multiple elements to this. I'm only showing you the sizes so I can reference that to you and then show you the areas of the electricity being within and the magnetics being outside of it. And in a perfect ball, they're going to warp depending on the natural environment. These are three spheres of equal properties, just different sizes. And in most science experiments or mathematics, we always have the equals as that, unless there's a fraction, an inversion, or a variation put on the math to alter the coincidence of the object itself to give it a distinct variation of the opposite, or the opposing force, or the coinciding force, or the force of desire. But how do you know what the force of desire is until you know what it is? So then it brings into encompassment of always arranging the idea of the whole as the information, which is the infinite principle of desire. And then that is one circle, a zero, giving it the indication of one, another, and then another, in another succession, three. Now you whip the reball, move those, whip the ball, reball, the RI, the infinite, radial from the center, if you think of the math principle, and then clean the ball, whip it into shape, and then build that with the light of desired. And then there you have your element that you can build with your imagination and use that as a gift to trade. But if you can do that, it's just a math principle. If you can't do that, then somebody else has to do it for you and show you how to do it. And that's why you don't ask questions when somebody's trying to build something. It's really distracting. I'll tell you that much from experience. It's really hard. I have full responsibility of building this, and it seems to be like a thing where I got to do it, and all I take is conjecture while I'm trying to get it done. That's why I just sit in my house and don't talk to anybody, because I can't even leave my house without getting yelled at. And I'm not even leaving my house and I'm getting yelled at by people that aren't here. And they're usually from my city or all over the world. Isn't that weird? Do you guys know that I see the entire planet sometimes? Because I smoke so much weed and I do this and then I vibe into areas where like, if you guys saw where I lived and how often I do this, I spend like 14, 16 hour days doing these concepts, building this stuff, and I've been doing that ever since I broke my hand in September 2018. Other than 5 months of work, and I did that part-time. The rest of the time I've been off work and on medical leave, and I haven't made a dime. I haven't been paid. And I'm doing all this for the good of the connection of the world right now, to do something different and think of a cleaner science instead of a destructive one. So creating the idea of the whole object in that kind of comparison, to give it another identification of sign, or the hydrogen, for example, is one, same element, same thing, add an orbital, there you go, base compound, the idea of the first element, or the idea of the lightest element is always the singular. So that's why it's just hilarious that the base root is just a single lit cartoon element that's taken off something about that size, and then just imagine a white ball about that size, and that would be a base root, and that would be a favor to everybody to take that into a little heart, and all those concepts. I mean, I can teach these in classes all the time. It's just I was told that nobody could afford me, so I don't get hired anymore, and all my projects seem to go out the door to the city. The bank, I proved a hacking problem with a credit system, very, very fraudulent, and I didn't get paid for the money that I lost, but I proved the hacker to that corporation, with that bank, and I didn't get reimbursed anything, but I proved it wrong, and then I still owed the money that I lost in the hack, trying to get the information that I lost back from them, and in that term, it was 216 phone calls to that bank to complain about it, but I never got reimbursed because I said that I wasn't communicative enough with them to tell them about the problem. So I didn't do it on time in the first 9 months, and the company had me held as liable to not be communicated to in the appropriate amount of time, because they never sent me anything to say that I ever talked to them to take the money from them in the first place. And that was the commitment on the response. So how is that even humanly possible that is a reason to keep me out of, the $20,000 I lost, or actually it was $35,000 I lost, plus all of the interest, paying it back, which was $600 a month for about 3.5 years. So how is that money that I shouldn't pay back if I prove the hack to be fraudulent, and I never got paid back for proving the hack to them with my own 216 calls that they documented, because I always went through the security detail and complained to them and talked to 3 people, but the bank won't pay me for my time. The Royal Ottawa and Ottawa Art Gallery own a course of mine that I started. It took me 3 years to do. I can't teach it anymore because I did the pilot project and it's out of my hands. The Public Mural Initiative, that was my pilot project that I did with Jeff Stellick, the director of the School of Art. I started all the procurement for that. I did the procurement for the outreach program at Citywide, and they can't afford to keep me, so I don't get paid. And I lost all my courses because I was too expensive to do, but the City of Ottawa hired 3 people to do my job, and they're all in-house staff, and it's a session with color books, and not a theory of how art can help mental health by being creatively thinking. Who's creatively thinking here, going nuts, trying to help people? I'm doing this mental from my house. I could be doing this in public a lot more civil, instead of having people taking my product and doing it as a creative idea, but then just giving somebody a color book and calling it a class with the pen names and the titles that I put on it, with the label that I put on it, the description that I put on it, and then call it nothing but their own, and then diminishing the idea of it by not even teaching the curriculum, and basically just telling people, here's a coloring book, let's try and come up with something. We won't talk about what it's about because the overseeing idea is right there. Why don't you read the Coles notes on the note? In the note, we'll talk about it a lot, and then we'll have no guidance. We'll just have people that are not personally involved in the procurement of the actual method that the course was put together in. It's just employees of the corporation that are causing all these decisions through human error of not having the same degree that I do. So that's kind of a point. See, I weave around. I implement a little bit of this to you guys a bit, but I'm talking mainly to the people in my room and doing a cognitive thought with them in order to prove to you guys a little bit about what I know, and then just giving you the opportunity to see if you think I'm sane or not, you know? If you think I'm sane, being this silly, protecting our rights, with everybody trying to kill us, and or somebody trying to come at us, or no, see, the first thing out of the mouth is that. And I'm an empath, so I pull on the phone, I pull on emotions at all times. People can throw voices, I'll throw those all back. You know, I have that ability. Anyone, through cameras, done. No more ability to throw through phones. You're not allowed. It's too distracting. I'll act on that. Somebody tried to hit me on the phone. I get hacked all the time, guys. That's why I got good at counter hacking. You have to. I took down a hacker because they tried to steal my credit, my identity. It solved a big problem, but I still paid for the money I lost. I don't know why. And then all they just I feel like I'm in defense of my life so much, you know. You understand? I feel like I'm in defense of my life so much. And I don't get it because it feels like I'm paying to basically be robbed in order to live. And then they basically work in order to create things for the public and then not even be able to take care of them. And then having a bad name because nobody can keep up with my script because they're not me. But people take over my projects and then there's a problem with it or there's a problem with me because it doesn't work. And I'm not there. And I'm the one not getting paid while everybody else is getting paid. And the whole thing was that I was too expensive to pay, but there's everybody, I'm paying to live, to get robbed in order to afford to do this, to come up with other stuff. I think I'm just either going to leave my life, I can go into off space, I can basically just ditch. I'm not staying in Ottawa, I know that. I've had enough with the place, I'll tell you that much. I call up people for a date and they ask me for $300 just to hang out and have smokes. Why is that? And I'm paying to live, I'm not making an income, and I have no liquid assets. I've got nothing. Because my identity was hit so hard, I lost allocation of everything in my digital currency to the point that I can't even tell if I did investments when I was younger because I don't have access to anything beyond a certain point. Like my life is cut out from underneath me when I saved it all online. Why is it gone? I don't get it. When I saved it all. So who is it tapping my life, basically, is what it is. And then I'm paying fees in order to keep up with all of the people tapping my life and then paying for that to happen. Do you guys get the problem with this? And why people are going psycho about all the information being lost? And why simple ideas are more important than destructive ones to create something simple like a lit cartoon ball as a favor tool to pass down as like a hand me forward rather than a letter system where you got to get everybody like this is just a tool that we will use as a spiritual practice and a principle in all world grids and even grids off the planet once we get there. And I think that's what we do because that's the evidence that I'm getting and the people I'm talking to in my head. I'm just letting you guys know that it's big deals. It's big deals. It's big deal. It's big deal. It's big deal that quantum's coming up, time travel, all of that other stuff. I'm just tapping because this is what everybody's looking for. All the principles of like science fiction coming real. It's going to happen again, but I think it's going to happen faster because we're that close. Everybody's been saying it because it's probably true. People listen to the right information for a reason. It's right. People that go against it usually frig things up and create big old problems because they're usually trying to cover something up that they did wrong, or they got caught and they realized that they were violating human rights by not letting, somebody that was, working on behalf of the government to protect the country to live in the winter with, minus 40-degree weather, doing 12-9-hour shifts with not enough money to pay for their fucking lunch. I did that for 2 winters. And you wouldn't believe where I'm working. I can't tell you. And anybody that knows me might know, probably nothing about it, except for the odd thing that might be spat around by the odd person that I tell by mistake. I don't know how it gets around. It's not my problem. I don't talk about other people's issues. So leave mine, I'm a very private guy, so leave mine where they lie too. If I tell you something, swallow it. It's a favor. I'm telling you, because I'm stressed out like crazy and I don't have people to talk to. Look at what I do for fun. Look at what I do to create things. I go to a great extent for this. It takes a lot of mental capacity and concentration to do this. So why is this condition? It's never relevant again. There, we'll take it away from Earth. You guys don't have this concept at all. It's not of this Earth. It's of actually 6 planets. 6 different races, I'm telling you that. I'm the guy from Earth that did it. And people like the Dalai Lama and former presidents and different people from around the world are all supporting me to do it. Including prime ministers, people that I hear all the time giving me support. Because they always have. And I've proven completely that this communication that I'm having with people, to know education of my own, other than my own, to know education of my own, meaning bringing in no information in, and then only education of my own, that I've always in evidence proven this stuff to be true through my own logical science of testing it in communication to see if it is right, and then testing it to see if it lies or not. So I'm pretty good at understanding when people are coming at me with psycho diversions in order to control me, or to get at me with hollow ideas in order to try and figure out if I'm worth it or not. And if they don't think I'm worth it, they're usually not going to follow through. And that's the way that I feel. Nobody follows through. I get everything done, and nobody follows through on the commitment that I want. And that's to create a family and finally have a fucking life, so I don't have to live in a house with basically living off of nothing, scrounging for everything that I get for dollars, and then creating the big ticket stuff with my own hands, and then having it mistreated all over the fucking place. And then the stuff that I do own is not even bought until it's bought for something little, and then it's coughed up and thrown out and retraded for thousands, where a charity will take it from me for peanuts. And that's the only offers that I'm getting in the art community now. Yet I am the master of the abstract arts, and then bringing it to the degree of science and literature and doing meditation and martial arts and all that. And